Good evening and welcome into another edition of the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show. Coming to you live as always from Struts in Oxford. Some of the best food you're going to find anywhere, and of course all the big screen TVs for all your favorite sporting events. I had the West Wings tonight and it was fantastic. Grady Sapp here alongside Brandon Steele as we get ready for week one of the postseason, Brandon. It's a busy week coming up.
It is. I'm ready too. We've got a bunch of good teams getting cranked up and a bunch of coaches here tonight. So
we do. We've got a couple of coaches that we haven't had on before here during the season, and looking forward to having them on. Coach Fordham from Wadley will be here with us, and also Coach Pat Prestridge, head coach at Randolph County. Of course, FNN Player of the Week from week 2, Aaron Knight will be with us, and also we're going to have Coach Ken Fordham, head coach of the undefeated Wadley Bulldogs, and we'll have Joe Medley, who of course is a sports writer for the Anniston Star, coming up. Plus we'll have players from both Randolph County and Wadley joining us tonight to talk a little high school football. And this is just the first night of what is going to be a very busy week for us, because we've got the coaches show tonight, and then we've got doubleheader for you for high school football coming up on Thursday night. We will be covering the Alexandria at Winona football game for you Thursday night, 6:30 from over in Winona. And then on Friday night, we're headed up till Sylvania, and Ohatchee, the Indians, will be on the road to take on Sylvania. That'll be our regular Friday night time slot at 6:30. So a very busy week of high school football coming up. And of course, don't forget, you don't have to miss any of the AHSAA playoffs. You can go to nfhsnetwork.com/affiliates/FNN Network. And under upcoming events, you can choose your game and subscribe. And that one subscription will get the entire playoffs for you. So that is nfhsnetwork.com to watch all of the postseason. For a minute.
That's a long one.
That's a long one. So everybody check that out. That's where you can watch throughout the course of the playoffs here on the Friday Night Network. All right, we're going to grab our first time out of the night, and then we'll be joined by Coach Ken Fordham of the Wadley Bulldogs. He is first up as the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show continues in a moment on FNN.
Forsyth Builders are passionate about what they do. A full-service contracting firm, Forsyth handles a variety of jobs, including industrial, commercial, renovations, and new construction. Forsyth has become a leader in construction management and has constructed or made additions on a number of area businesses like Noble Bank and ABS Business Systems, additions to Anniston's Country Club and F&M Bank.
Remember to make Forsyth Building Company your first choice for quality construction.
Hey, this is Coach Chris from Professional Apothecary, and we're your hometown team.
We take care of all your pharmacy and medical equipment needs.
When it comes to medical supplies, the team at Professional Apothecary has the winning game plan. Everything from mobility needs to home and portable oxygen, CPAP equipment and supplies, easy lift chairs, and Dr. Comfort shoes.
And we have all of your over-the-counter needs.
Come see us at Professional Apothecary.
Located on North Street, just off the square, on Facebook and online at proapo.com.
Just a reminder, kids who participate in high school activities tend to go a little farther than those who don't. Take part. Get set for life.
I'm race car driver Curtis Skinner. Out on the dirt track, we put dings and dents in our cars almost every night. That's just part of the game. But when it comes to what you drive every day, an unexpected accident creates worry. At Skinner Body Shop in Oxford, we've been taking the stress out of getting wrecked vehicles repaired for years. We have the professional team in place to handle everything from the original free estimate to the final cleanup after all the repairs are complete. We work with all major insurance carriers, so next time the unexpected happens to you, call us at Skinner Body Shop.
Continue now with the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show, live from Struts in Oxford. I'm Grady Sapp alongside Brandon Steele. Big crowd on hand tonight here at Struts, and I know they're all here to see Brandon, but we'll get to you in a little bit. First up now, we've got our first guest of the night, Coach Ken Fordham, head coach for the Wadley Bulldogs, the undefeated Bulldogs, joining us tonight. And Coach, welcome aboard here. We're glad to have you up in Oxford tonight with us.
Real glad for you to let us be up here with you.
All right, Coach, I'm going to just start it because I've been talking about this since we had you guys when you played Winterboro. I've seen a lot of spread offensives. I've seen a lot of hurry-ups offense with that spread and the up-tempo. I've never seen the hurry-up wishbone, and I got to hear about this. When did you guys start taking the up-tempo and mixing it in with the wishbone?
Well, it's just a feel that we have when it comes to the game. Sometimes it's something we see on film that we can do. We sort of look at personnel and, what they're doing on the field, and it's just a feel we have. We tell the quarterback if we see something, we want to get to the line of scrimmage. It's just like anybody else when it comes to hurry up. A lot of teams want to throw the ball and hurry up, and we won't try to run it. It's what we have a lot of success with. We've had success for the last 5 years of running football. Probably throwing it more this year, and we've thrown it, in 5 years put together, if you want to be honest about it.
One thing I noticed that me and Grady did when we covered your game down at Winterboro was your special teams, how precise and accurate they were. You don't see that much in 1A football.
Well, we look at all three phases like in any classification. You got to be sound in all the different things that you do when it comes to offense, defense, and special teams, because if you're not sound, it's going to show on Friday night. It doesn't matter if it's, like I said, single A or up to 7A. You got to be sound in what we're doing, and we work on it in practice every single day. Some think, it might not be that important, but we put a lot of emphasis on it and try to get right personnel in it.
Well, Coach, a lot of people maybe don't realize it, but Wadley has been a real traditionally powerful program in Class 1A for a long time now. Been a lot of really good players that have come through there. And talk a little bit about just about the program in general. And you're back with a lot of winning going on and back to the winning ways at Wadley. So it's a tradition, a program that's used to winning.
Well, it's been there for a number of years. I was there really about 21 years ago as an assistant coach, and it really started after we left with Coach Sparks. Coach Sparks did a great job for a number of years there that he was there. Had several years that he went, I think it was 3 years in a row, he went to the semifinals. And, that's a testament to what he did and, what he had going on with the program then. Had a few lax years in between that and had coaching changes of about 3 or 4 different coaches. And it really affected the program, and he was able to get in there. It's nothing a lot of what I've done, I'll be honest with you. These kids have changed the attitude of what they're doing, and day in, day out, they work hard, and that's the biggest thing that we want to try to accomplish with them is that work ethic that's going to take them just not in football, take them other places, and that's a tribute to the coaches doing what they need to do day in, day out, and the players deciding they're going to make a change in it. And when you talk to these two that's hopefully going to come up here in a little while, they'll talk to you a little bit about some of those changes and things that we try to do every single day. It's not rocket science. I mean, it's football, and it's a little bit about life, and hopefully it'll take them a little longer in life.
Kind of goes into my next question. With your successful program, what roles does the principal and athletic director play to have a successful football program?
Well, it being a 1A, resources, we make our own resources. All of our funding and everything is done through us. When it comes down to it, got a great booster club, and booster clubs, led by several good men and ladies that's involved with it. But we have the support of Ms. Laura Carlisle as far as it being, our principal does a great job, lets the athletic end be handled by the athletic department, but steps in when these things need to be done. And, she does an outstanding job with it. Logan Cofield is our assistant principal, and he also is our defensive coordinator, so he's got a double role in there. But, administration, they do what is needed to do on the administrative end and pretty much let us handle the athletic end. And like I said, if something comes up, she's the first that's going to step into it, and that's what you need, I think, when it comes to a strong administrator, and that's real important.
Well, Coach, I grew up in Liable and went to Southern Union, so I spent some time down in Wadley. I know it's a real tight-knit community, and I know that I've covered some Wadley football over the years from working down in Randolph County for a while as well. So I know that it's a very tight-knit community, and they are very proud of their football program, very proud of the school, and the community comes out and supports. And let's talk a little bit about your team so far this year. Of course, undefeated. You go into the postseason. You're going to be taking on Pleasant home in round 1. Talk a little bit about that upcoming opponent and your road to the championships.
Well, we started out the year, we had a pretty decent idea of what was going to have coming back. I tell a lot of people a lot of times when you got juniors and seniors that's been in the program for 4 or 5 years, they know what's going on. And we talked about a few minutes ago about special teams. when you tell young men get in the place of where you were the year before, and you look out there and you might have to replace one or two, and we've had to do that, just one or two the last few years, and that might change next year, but we're going to worry about that when that comes about. Over the course of a year, just like any other team, you have to deal with injuries, you have to deal with things that has to take place. We've had some, but we've had depth that we've built up for the last 2 to 3 years, I guess, that have helped us where we're at now. Our 10th graders and our juniors, especially our 10th graders, have really stepped up and filled in some voids that we've had when we've had people get hurt. And we have not fallen off a tremendous amount over the last few games, because I think one of the coaches brought up the fact that we had about 4 starters out one game, 2 on offense and 2 on defense. And, that can affect you, especially in 1A ball, 2A ball, if you don't have personnel that can step in there, and we've had young kids to be able to step in.
So speaking of those young kids, who is some of the leaders that you brought with us tonight? Can you tell us a little bit about them?
We're going to have Quay Drake. He's going to be he's our split end. He also returns our punts and plays defensive back, plays free safety as well. Been in the program 5 years, was a starter as an 8th grader. Led the team actually as an interception as an 8th grader, and I think right now holds a school record as far as interceptions.
Wow.
Hadn't had a lot of opportunities this year. We played a lot of teams that run football. Hadn't had a lot of opportunities for interceptions. Great athlete, probably a better person than he is an athlete. And that's what I look for a lot of times when it comes to your leaders. And, day in, day out, he's going to come to work, hardly ever misses practice unless something drastic comes up. He's a good fellow. I like him a lot. Hopefully going to be able to play at the next level. Got several offers already right now, but, y'all can talk to him about that, whatever needs to. Next person I've known for about 18 years, or going on 18 years. It's going to be my son, Ken Fordham. He plays quarterback and plays middle linebacker. Pretty decent combination. You better be halfway tough if you're going to play linebacker and have to turn around and play quarterback as well. But he's been started for about 3 years. Had to start as a 10th grader linebacker. Our linebacker we had got hurt. And, decided going to have to just throw him to the fire and see if he's going to be able to do anything. And he stepped up and played middle linebacker to 10th grader. And but this, as they'll tell you, this more than just them two. There's a lot of kids that fit a lot of different roles. And the good thing about it, every one of them knows what the roles are going to be day in, day out. And that's what's enjoyable about coaching them. There's not a lot of bickering, a lot of carrying on about them. They just want to get out there and have success with each other.
Well, Coach Fordham, a pleasure to have you on the show, and enjoyed getting to watch the Bulldogs play a few weeks ago, and wish you great success in the postseason here, and I hope Wadley can take it a long way.
We do as well. We, like I said, I appreciate you letting us come up and be a part of it and talk about Wadley football. All
right, Coach. We'll let you slide out, and then we'll, when we can take a break here, and then we'll get Quay and Connor over here and talk with them a little bit coming up about Wadley football, as well as the FNN Tuesday night high school football coaches show continues from here at Struts.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro.
Aniston Auto Trim and Body Shop is your best stop for full-service auto body repair, including all body work and professional painting. They also specialize in complete classic car restoration. When you have an accident, you want it back the way it was, and that's what you get with the team at Aniston Auto Trim. The same is true if you're ready to restore your dream car or a timeless family classic. They work with all major insurance companies and provide free estimates for every job. Come by today and see Stacy Jennings and the gang at Aniston Auto Trim and Body Shop, just up the hill off Quintard on Greenbrier Deer Road.
Welcome back into the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show, live from Struts in Oxford. Grady Sapp now joined by a couple of guys that make Wadley football go, and that is Quay Drake, who is on the far left down here, the split end and free safety for the Wadley Bulldogs, a 5-year starter, and Connor Fordham, quarterback and linebacker for the Bulldogs. Guys, thanks for coming on the show tonight and coming up to Oxford to join us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I'm going to talk with, I'll start with you, Connor. You're here next to me right now, and saw this combination a little bit with Ohatchee that plays up in our area last year. Big physical quarterback like you and a linebacker, played middle linebacker. That's a little bit of an unusual combination. Talk about playing those two positions, and I guess what you bring to the table when your mindset when you switch around.
I guess pretty much like, the quarterback is the leader on offense, and linebacker is more or less like a leader on defense. So I guess they go hand in hand, of course. I feel like defense makes me a better offensive player, and vice versa, as far as, back and forth. As a linebacker, I guess maybe make me a tougher quarterback, sit in the pocket better, run for more yards, that kind of stuff. But yeah, just kind of back and forth. It just makes you overall tougher.
I got to know how sore you are on Saturday afterward playing linebacker and getting hit at quarterback in a run-oriented offense.
Yeah, we I'm very, very ice baths on Saturdays, definitely. We actually there's a backup who's been playing a lot more this year. His name's Tommy Overton. He's helped out a ton. But last year I was pretty much full time at both. But this year, I've kind of been swapping out at defense a pretty good bit. So it's been a lot better. But yeah, definitely.
All right, and Quay Drake is down here on the end, split end, and you play free safety and also return punts. A 5-year starter. Man, talk about that. Starting at this game for 5 years, that's something else.
Yes, sir. It's been it's not been easy, but working hard every day, every year, coming in, day out, practice with great guys, great linemen, great teammates, great coaches. I've been able to get through it. Just trying to finish it out this year.
And you, I think, hold the record for interceptions at the school and at Wadley, and you haven't had as much of a chance this year because you've been playing a lot of running teams. Do you miss getting the chance to get out there and get the pick?
Yes, sir. A couple weeks ago, I had my first pick six of the season, and it felt kind of good getting the ball back in my hands, back at safety. But, as long as the D-line taking care of business, then I'm all good with it.
And I know Coach said that you've got some potential to play here at the next level. Do you have anybody that's a favorite for you right now?
Not right now. I'm just taking it in, soaking it all in, having fun with the process. So just waiting on my turn, waiting on my time.
Coach Fordham also talked about, I'll ask you both this, about you as a group of players have kind of taken ownership and making some changes in the way that you go through day-to-day preparation and I guess week to week there with the football program. Talk a little bit about your attitude as a football team and how you approach each and every week.
I guess like from the get-go, we meet on Sundays to film and prep work for the continued week. And I guess like the focus, like prior to like our 9th and 10th grade and maybe even our 11th grade year, focus may have not been completely there. This year, I think the focus is there a little bit more. And that kind of shows, with numbers and, teams that we've played against. But I feel like we've been a lot more focused this year to get the job done in a way that would just brutal every week. So, but yeah.
And Quay, how about for you? What are the changes you've seen in the attitudes and the focus on this team?
Yes, sir. Well, this summer we came in, and I feel like in the weight room, like we totally like maxed it out. We worked hard every day. Sure. We came in, we sweated. Nobody complained really this much. And this season, that I think that we've all been working harder, and just working hard in the weight room has showed on the field as we play week in and week out. So it's been pretty good.
Well, of course, you looking at the wins there, you guys have just dominated throughout the course of the season. Really, you haven't really been, I would call, challenged. So do you worry any about getting into the postseason? I know the competition is going to get tougher week by week. Right. So how do you feel like you're ready for that?
I would say, if we continue to do what we're doing, and kind of not worry about like what other teams are doing from a standpoint like, hey, this team's got this, and we just worry about ourselves and continue to stay focused. I feel like, we'll be fine. Of course, it's going to get tougher. That's how playoffs work, definitely. But, if D-line gets in there and O-line gets in there and they do their job, that brings up another little topic. They don't get the credit. You know what I mean? Like, offense and defensive line, they are not getting the credit. And right now, I guess, like, give them all the credit this year. They've played their hearts out. But, just pretty much just focus on ourselves, which is what we've done this entire season. The prep work has been there, the focus, and I think that'll carry us. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much for taking a few minutes and coming on the show.
Sure.
Enjoyed getting to see you guys play a few weeks ago when we had you in Winterboro on. Great football team, and I think you're going to go far. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, that is Quay Drake and Connor Fordham joining me here on the show. We're going to grab a timeout. When we come back, the head coach for the Randolph County Tigers, Coach Pat Prestridge, will join us coming up next as we continue with the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show live from Struts in Oxford.
Step into the offices of J. Britt Middlebrook, CPA, where you'll find professional one-on-one service for business and individual clients. In this ever-changing tax and economic climate, you can count on receiving the expert advice you need. J. Britt Middlebrook works hard to provide every client what they need to meet all deadlines. Tax season will be here soon. For all your accounting service needs, call or stop by at 1913 Berry Street in Oxford. That's J. Britt Middlebrook, CPA. Griffin Laser Engraving in Lincoln is your authorized local dealer for personalized Yeti products. Get your Yeti customized for your team, a business, or a special event. Your color, graphics, even photos. At Griffin Laser Engraving, we make it the way you want it. Order just one or hundreds, and you'll find a full line of Yeti coolers and accessories on hand, even the hard-to-find items. Nationally recognized, but right here at home in Lincoln for quality awards, trophies, powder coating, and personalized Yeti items, Griffin Laser Engraving.
When you're the boss, you need the right machines. The right machine is the new Kawasaki Mule Pro FXR side-by-side. Quality fit and finish, and all this cabin space. Maneuvers like you wouldn't believe. The new Kawasaki Mule Pro FXR, the strongest, because I said so.
See the full line today at Talladega Cycle Sales on Highway 21 in Talladega or online at TalladagaCycleSales.com.
Welcome back into the Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show, live from Struts in Oxford here, as we do each and every Tuesday night. I want to thank you for being with us and look forward to bringing you a whole lot more football coverage as the week and the postseason continues. Well, now our next guest up, he is the head coach for the Randolph County Tigers. That is Coach Pat Prestridge. And Coach Prestridge, good evening. Thanks for making the drive up from Wadley and joining us tonight.
Well, we appreciate you having us here.
It's been a great season for the Tigers, obviously, this year. I mean, probably in Class 3A, your region, it might be the best region in the state, period, in all classifications. I don't think I could think of a tougher one.
Well, I was asked the same question about a few years ago. We was in a Class 2A Region 5 with Clay County, Lineville, Woodland, Ranburn. I just felt like I got boosted up a little bit to another big storm, too.
Yeah, I can remember those days down there.
Okay, talk about the playoffs. So you lost to Piedmont in the regular season, and in my opinion, your team played an awesome game that night, but it just looked like you kind of ran out of gas. What has changed since then?
Well, it was early in the season, and we sort of, like you said, ran out of gas. Probably went in tip-top shape, but, turnovers hers also, second half. I think we had 3 second half. But, I think our kids have bounced back, and, as had to play both sides of the balls, it helped us get in better shape, just so I hadn't to run sprints every day. But, our kids responded well, and it might have been a blessing, to get, not that chip off our shoulder a little bit. Coming back from last year, 3rd round, and not lose but one kid on defense and a couple guys on offense. And, you sort of get that big head a little bit when you're young. So, maybe, we got things turned around and in a little bit better shape.
Well, Coach, as we looked at that schedule from this season on the screen there a minute ago, really the Piedmont game, you had the loss there that Brandon referred to, but beyond that, you guys have really just dominated your competition throughout the course of the season. What's been key to that for you in this run you've put together?
Well, we've had some outstanding players. We've had some injuries hurt us also, but we got Aaron Knight and it's also Trent Lane, two guys that's helped us carry the ball a lot. And if you watched us 2 years ago, we was more wide open than we were Wishbone and I.
Mm-hmm.
But we bounced back and we think, well, 2003 we was an I more than Wishbone too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those guys right there carried a lot of the load. Of course, I'm not one to just boost on one player or two players. It takes the offensive line too. I just couldn't. When y'all asked me to bring a couple players, it's hard to pick off our team because I think all our guys deserve some kind of honor.
Yeah, absolutely. They're awesome players. We got to watch them, a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to ask you a hard question, and you and I kind of talked about it before the Piedmont game. But in your opinion, should an open enrollment school be able to play each other, or should they go in a higher bracket?
Well, the state, that's their option to do that. It is rough on county schools, I know we have 3 county schools in our county and 1 city school. And, I know our city school has boosted their facilities up, and it's hard for us to get that income, and had to spread it out among 3 schools. But, there's a lot of city schools that got open enrollment now. But, at the same time, I think our kids, they know what we stand for, what we play for, what we mean. So, they always want to be a Randolph County Tiger no matter what. But
yeah, but it just don't seem fair. You said, you got your team. It's like grew up since 8th graders, all the way through. You graduate a handful of seniors. Well, you don't have anybody to fill that hole. To where if you're at another school that has open enrollment, if they got a child down here, it's like, okay, well, come on up here and play for my school, and we'll give you a starting role.
Well,
you just got fresh meat in there all the time. That don't seem fair to play a school that has that kind of advantage.
And I understand what you're saying. Like I was at Randolph County for 7 years before, and, we won a state championship there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here again another 7 years. This is counting 7 years. And the kids that moved in that have impacted our program in 14 years, we had 2 that moved in that helped us some. 2 in 14 years. And,
amazing.
we're just going to take our kids, what we dealt, we're going to try to make them better. They're going to improve, and we're going to play what we dealt with. If somebody wants to come to our school and, move in, that's their opinion. That's their option. But, we're not banking on anybody. 14 years, you only get 2 that could help you a little bit, and I'm not talking about 5 stars. I'm talking about maybe 0 stars.
Yeah.
I'm talking about kids that just come in and contribute what they can. And, and it's nice, we live on a lake.
It's not a bad spot.
It's not a bad spot at all.
It's not a bad spot.
And, you think people just move in on that lake over there and bring the kids on over there. And I'm going to go back to baseball. The year we went to state championship in baseball, got beat by Mobile Christian. We had a kid that lived on the lake over there that's from Bremen that was a left-handed pitcher, but he didn't play at Randolph County. He went back to Bremen to go to high school. So, we didn't go out and try to, recruit him or anything. And if he wanted to come over and play, it would have helped us. But we just, we're going to just take the kids we got, and that's the kids we have over there today, and that's the kids we'll have tomorrow, and that's the kids we'll have a year from now.
It's just hard for me to keep my mouth shut. It's just hard to watch because I know what a great program you got. I know what a great coach you are to watch you play a school, and they can just bring in a total offense, a total defense, and your guys are going both ways. It's like, well, that's just not right.
Well,
it's just not right.
It's everybody's opinion.
It is. This is my opinion. About like what everybody's got one.
And it must be nice. I'm gonna just say that it must be nice.
Well, Coach, your first stint, you said this is your second at Randolph County. You were a much younger coach, if I remember right, the first time you were there, because I think you were coming in about the time I was down working in radio down in Roanoke, and I think that was among your first or second year down there on the first stint. So you were a lot younger back then.
But 2001, I was a lot. I was thinner too.
So was I.
But I think it's about 2001. I was there, and it's, like I said, that's been some great years.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some down years.
Sure.
And, it just makes me feel better as a coach, taking those kids. And I know our coaches, too, to take those young kids and you develop what you have. You know what I'm saying? Make it a better hand.
Yeah.
Take what you dealt and make those kids better, but make them better for life.
And a very good coaching staff. I know your defensive coordinator real well, Coach Giddens. I've known Steve for many years. I'm an old Lima boy.
I hear you.
From back in the day. So I remember those wars, and I've known Steve for a long time. And even played a little golf with him now and then. So
oh my goodness!
You got a good defensive coordinator there.
Do they cheat? Do they cheat in golf?
Well, I'm not going to have any comments on that. I better not comment on that. It's just bending the rules. That's all we'll call that. Coach, let's take a look at the brackets there. Of course, coming up, you're going to get North Sand Mountain here in the first round, and then. You get through that one, and Fultondale in the second round will be a pretty tough matchup. But I know you got to focus first off on North Sand Mountain here on Friday night.
Well, North Sand Mountain, they do well what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to have a lot of speed, but, most of those northern schools have a lot of size, not speed.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I've got to experience that over the years. So they'll be well coached, and like I said, I don't so much worry about that team or any teams now. I worry about us, how we're going to show up, what we're going to do. If we show up and do what we're supposed to do, then I don't worry too much.
You think it's possible we might see a repeat of what we had last year in the quarterfinals where all four were from the same region there? It was like almost like a in-season game.
Well, I looked at, the seats 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 is definitely the hardest one, far as – because you're talking about Fultondale right there. I've seen them play already,
mm-hmm.
and they got athletes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You take I told our kids, and I told, not our kids, but our coaches, I said, you take Lynette and you put Whitlow on their team, from Lafayette last year, and that's what you got from Fultondale.
Wow.
A bunch of athletes and a quarterback that can go. So, it'll be tough, but, we're not worried about that now. We're just worried about North Sand Mountain because, anything can happen. It's supposed to be flooding, raining, I don't know. You find the ball a couple times, you give them, something to get up on,
mm-hmm.
and it can cost you if you look ahead.
So tell us about some of the players you brought with you tonight.
Well, with number one, Aaron Knight,
mm-hmm.
outstanding guy. You couldn't ask for a better person. Does an outstanding job for our team. He's a great leader on defense. Last year, running the ball, he was our number 2. Didn't get a lot of carries last year. Trent Lane was our number 1. But, he's gotten bigger and stronger this year. Real flashy runner, a lot of vision. And, a kid like that, don't hear a lot from. No attitude, no nothing. That's worth about 20 or 30 carries to me. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then I got Brody Wortham. He's our quarterback this year. He didn't start quarterback last year. Andrew started quarterback last year. So we got him playing quarterback this year. Great passer, not a lot of speed, but great passer, real smart in the game. And, and able to help us, and pick out his open receivers and take care of the ball. I guess I'm saying it over the years is, he's one of the quarterbacks, he's going to help you win some games, here and there, throwing the ball and not make any mistakes to help you lose the game. And then I got my son, Andrew. He played quarterback last year. He's been hurt a little bit this year. Hadn't played a lot of games. But we moved him to receivers, so it gives us more of a threat outside. And, of course, we got some more kids, too. We got E.J. Clark, which I didn't bring, that's had an outstanding year receiving the ball. But Andrew has been hurt. So that gives us more of a threat on the outside so everybody can't just load up in the box. And so, here we are.
Now, your son was the punter, too, so you have to turn the duties over to somebody else now?
Well, Brody's punting right now, as for now. Now,
okay.
he's back, I guess Andrew's about 95% right now. So we're going to try to get through one more game without him having to punt. But if we make it to that Fultondale game, he's hit some great punts this year, 50-something yarders in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a 56-yarder or 60-yarder at Glencoe. But if we can get him back, that can flip the field in a hurry for us, if we get in trouble. But, all three of them are outstanding players.
No question about that. Outstanding football team, Coach. I enjoyed getting to see you play over the last couple of years. with Randolph County, and look forward to seeing you somewhere along the way here in the postseason, and wish you good luck.
Well, I hope you see us for the next 5.
Yeah, there you go. About the next 5 would be good.
Yeah.
That is Coach Pat Prestridge, head coach for the Randolph County Tigers. We'll grab a timeout. We'll come back and talk with some of the Tiger players coming up next as the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show continues live from Struts in Oxford.
I'm race car driver Crew Skinner. Out on the dirt track, we put dings and dents in our cars almost every night. That's just part of the game. But when it comes to what you drive every day, an unexpected accident creates worry. At Skinner Body Shop in Oxford, we've been taking the stress out of getting wrecked vehicles repaired for years. We had the professional team in place to handle everything from the original free estimate to the final cleanup after all the repairs are complete. We work with all major insurance carriers, so next time the unexpected happens to you, call us at Skinner Body Shop.
Forsyth Builders are passionate about what they do. A full-service contracting firm, Forsyth handles a variety of jobs, including industrial, commercial, renovations, and new construction. Forsyth has become a leader in construction management and has constructed or made additions on a number of area businesses like Noble Bank and ABS Business Systems, additions to Anniston's Country Club and F&M Bank.
Remember to make Forsyth Building Company your first choice for quality construction.
When you're the boss, you need the right machines. The right machine is a new Kawasaki Mule Pro FXR side-by-side. Quality fit and finish, and all this cabin space. Maneuvers like you wouldn't believe. The new Kawasaki Mule Pro FXR, the strongest, 'cause I said so.
See the full line today at Talladega Cycle Sales on Highway 21 in Talladega or online at TalladagaCycleSales.com. Anniston Auto Trim and Body Shop is your best stop for full-service auto body repair, including all body work and professional painting. They also specialize in complete classic car restoration. When you have an accident, you want it back the way it was, and that's what you get with the team at Anniston Auto Trim. The same is true if you're ready to restore your dream car or a timeless family classic. They work with all major insurance companies and provide free estimates for every job. Come by today and see Stacy Jennings and the gang at Anniston Auto Trim and Body Shop, just up the hill off Quintard on Greenbrier Deer Road. Step into the offices of J. Britt Middlebrook, CPA, where you'll find professional one-on-one service for business and individual clients. In this ever-changing tax and economic climate, you can count on receiving the expert advice you need. J. Britt Middlebrook works hard to provide every client what they need to meet all deadlines. Tax season will be here soon. For all your accounting service needs, call or stop by at 1913 Berry Street in Oxford. That's J. Britt Middlebrook, CPA.
Welcome you back to the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show, live from Struts in Oxford. Come on out and enjoy some of the best food that you're going to find anywhere in the area. And, of course, we've got a big sports weekend coming up. Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi State. You can check it all out right here at Struts on all the big screen TVs and every major sporting event around the country they've got right here for you. Brandon's still alongside, and we've got a special guest now who was our FNN High School Player of the Week back in, I believe, week 2 of the season. Just now getting a chance to catch up with him, Aaron Knight from the Randolph County Tigers here. Aaron, good evening, man. Thanks for making it up to be with us tonight.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you.
Well, on behalf of the FNN Network, you are the Week 2 Player of the Week, so we're going to present you with this nice trophy.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll get started with a few questions.
Yeah, talk about the season for the Tigers. You guys brought a lot of guys back from last year's team. That team got to the quarterfinals, so it's been a good year for you. What are your hopes headed into the postseason?
We hope to take it one game at a time. Focus on developing our strengths as a team. Trying to get some more guys into the rotation. Trying to become a stronger depth team, get more guys in the rotation, playing harder. We got to play harder, keep the intensity up, not let take any team for granted. Since we're in the playoffs, we go home after any game now, so it's all or nothing. We're all in, chasing the ring.
Now, I was down in Wadley a couple of weeks ago, and your name has been brought up everywhere. I mean, there's a lot. You're a well-known celebrity down there right now. So I want you to look at the camera, and I want you to tell the younger children watching right now, what does it take to be a good athlete, and what would you recommend to them?
Hard work, first of all. Hard work. Always stay true to yourself. I always stay honest with yourself. You got to work hard all the time. You got to have determination, too. I mean, you just got to stay determined. I always believe in what your coach tell you. I mean, he always going to tell you something good. So I always believe in what your coach tells you. Stay determined and work hard. That's it.
Well, Aaron, it's been a great year for you. I know you're getting to carry the ball a lot more this year.
Yes,
and you really stepped up, obviously, and had a great season. And hopefully you can continue that here on maybe the next 5 weeks, hopefully, for the next 5 weeks in the postseason. And we appreciate you coming up and congratulate you on being the Friday Night Network High School Player of the Week for week number 2.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's Aaron Knight for the Randolph County Tigers. We'll grab another quick timeout, and we'll talk with a couple more of Aaron's teammates coming up as the Tuesday night FNN High School Football Coaches Show continues next from Struts in Oxford.
Griffin Laser Engraving in Lincoln is your authorized local dealer for personalized Yeti products. Get your Yeti customized for your team, a business, or a special event. Your color, graphics, even photos. At Griffin Laser Engraving, we make it the way you want it. Order just one or hundreds, and you'll find a full line of Yeti coolers and accessories on hand, even the hard-to-find items. Nationally recognized, but right here at home in Lincoln for quality awards, trophies, powder coating, and personalized Yeti items, Griffin Laser Engraving.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro.
Come back into the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show live from Struts here in Oxford. I'm Grady Sapp. Next up now, we have got to my immediate left, Rody Wortham, who is the quarterback for Randolph County, and also Andrew Prestridge, who plays a wide receiver and also punts for the Tigers alongside. Guys, thanks for coming in tonight and being on the show.
Sir.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
We have had a chance to watch you guys a few times over the last couple of years. You were kind of one of the teams talked about last year as being so young, and this year you've been kind of one of the teams talked about as being one of the favorites when you look in Class 3A. What's that been like for you to kind of go from one of the up-and-comers to one of the ones with the target on your back every week?
Well, I mean, we still come to the games no matter what people think of us. I mean, we know what we got, so we're coming into every game with the same effort, same intensity, trying to play every team the same way every week.
And for you, Andrew, started at quarterback last year. You made position change, went to wide receiver this year. Talk about that changeover for you. What was that like?
I played receiver since I was in the 9th grade. Started quarterback in the 11th grade. It was kind of difficult of seeing the different side of the field. So I've been used to playing receiver most of the time.
And I know you've had been a little bit banged up this year, and Coach said you were just about all the way back.
Yes, sir. It's playoffs, so you got to play with pain.
Yes, sir. No doubt about that. And as you guys look ahead into the playoffs, I know you focused on week 1 now, and you get through that one, and then you look at your run as it goes. It's hard to look too far ahead, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Talk about your attitude headed into the first round this week.
We know it's do or die now. I mean, you lose, you go home, and me and Andrew being seniors, you got to get everything you got now.
It hasn't soaked in yet. Could be our last game Thursday, but I hope it's not.
Well, I'm sure you guys will be ready.
Yes, sir.
Be ready to go. And you've had a really good year. The one loss was to Piedmont, and I know you guys would love another crack at them if you can keep things going. It wouldn't happen for a few weeks from now, but a lot of tough teams between you and them now. But do you just kind of take it each week and, as you said, look at yourselves even more so than your opponents? I mean, you got to look at what they bring to the table, but it's got to be the same attitude, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, either whether we're playing Piedmont or North Sand Mountain, we're going to come in, do what we do every week, and play every opponent as hard as we can.
take it one game at a time.
Yep, that's the best way to approach it. Well, guys, thank you for making the trip up from down in Wadley, and a really outstanding football team. It's a pleasure to get a chance to watch you guys perform on the field on Friday nights, and I hope we see you here in a few weeks in the postseason.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
All right, that is Brody Wortham and Andrew Prestridge for the Randolph County Tigers, quarterback and wide receiver here with us as the Tigers get set for round one action coming up on Thursday night with North Sand Mountain. We'll grab a timeout. When we come back, Joe Medley, sports writer for the Anniston Star, joins us as we'll break down the playoff bracket straight ahead as the FNN Tuesday night high school football coaches show continues live at Struts in Oxford next.
Hey, this is Coach Chris from Professional Apothecary, and we're your hometown team.
We take care of all your pharmacy and medical equipment needs.
When it comes to medical supplies, the team at Professional Apothecary has the winning game plan. Everything from mobility needs to home and portable oxygen, CPAP equipment and supplies, easy lift chairs, and doctor comfort shoes.
And we have all of your over-the-counter needs. Come see us at Professional Apothecary.
Located on North Street, just off the square, on Facebook and online at proapo.com.
Just a reminder, kids who participate in high school activities tend to go a little farther than those who don't. Take part. Get set for life.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro.
Welcome back into the FNN Tuesday night high school football coaches show live tonight at Struts in Oxford. Grady Sapp, Brandon Still back alongside, and now our final guest of the night. He is the sports writer for the Anniston Star, Joe Medley, after a 1 week absence. Welcome back to the show, Joe.
Sorry, I had to take my kids trick-or-treating last week, and I was the scariest one in the whole thing, but and I wasn't even wearing a costume. But I am wearing part of my son's costume. He was a Star Trek officer last week, and he gave me some of his rank insignia.
Wow,
so
you rank. That's the highest ranking member of the show now.
I'm a lieutenant.
Wow. Well, Joe, let's get things started. Let's take a look. First off, let's talk a little 5A as we get set for that bracket. Of course, we're going to have Alexandria and Winona on FNN coming up on Thursday night in FHS. And the Valley Cubs, they suffered a couple of losses in the season in big games with Etowah and Gunnersville and didn't get it done. So now they're the third seed, and they have to travel over and take on a very good Winona team coming up on Thursday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which Alexandria team shows up. Obviously, the one that didn't score against Etowah and Gunnersville, and the one that scored 60 points the last time they played against Crossville. I think they kind of took those shutouts a little personally, and showed more like the offensive team that we've seen all year from Alexandria. They averaged, I think, it's 35.3 points a game, something along those lines, 35.1 all year long. They've crossed into the 40s a few times, so they're a good offensive team that just had a couple of bad nights, it looks like. And if the team that we saw most of the year shows up at Winona, then we'll be seeing them next week.
Oh, well. And Winona, tough out, though. That'll be a tough game.
Yeah, that's a tough team. I think they're number 4 in the state in the Alabama Sports Writers Association poll. So, they're good, but, I think only giving up 10 points a game and they're good, but I think Alexandria is going to show up, and I think it's going to be a good game, and it's one of those that could go either way.
What do you think about that region as a whole? You see Gunnersville's going to have St. Clair County in the first round, and you've also, of course, got Etowah that's in as the region champ. And what do you think about that region as a whole in the postseason in 5A?
Well, it's St. Clair County is going to be a tough out for Guntersville. St. Clair County, they're a team that they came here and won the Piedmont Passing Camp over the summer. They've got some skilled people. Sachs beat them this year, but they're a pretty good team, and I think they could be a tough out for Guntersville. But Winona and Alexandria, and then on the other side of that, you've got. To scroll up a little bit there, we got Mortimer Jordan's in that bracket. That's always an interesting thing. If Alexandria could face them in the second round, they had some battles a couple of years ago, including a semifinal game at Alexandria that I think Alexandria probably would have won, but for a key injury or two. Came down to a 2-point conversion, as I recall. But, Lawrence County, wouldn't it be something if Alexandria and Lawrence County end up playing again, because they played in the state volleyball championship just last week.
Which Alexandria won.
Alexandria won, and convincingly. They didn't lose a set in that whole tournament. But, yeah, that's an interesting bracket there. And, of course, eventually, I think Alexandria would really like to have another shot at Etowah if it gets that far. Just because I don't think they got in the red zone 3 times that night and didn't score. And I think they'd really like to have another opportunity to see if they could block that Etowah defensive line.
Well, let's jump over and go to Class 6A now. And, of course, everybody's focus around these parts in Class 6A are going to be the Oxford Yellow Jackets. And we all remember last year an undefeated regular season and then out in the first round of the playoffs. And you've got an undefeated regular season this year. Is it an Oxford team that's better equipped to advance in 6A this year?
I think so because of a couple of things. Now, number one, the team that played last year didn't make the playoffs the year before. They were 3-7 the year before and then had that great turnaround season last year. So when they got to the playoffs, they didn't have that playoff experience to draw from. And then, at least, some of the younger players especially. And then they had some injuries last year. They had quarterback Abe Peoples was playing with a bad shoulder that really he didn't throw all week that week. Running back Ty Lindsay had a broken bone in his ankle. It wasn't a weight-bearing thing, but he had to wear a big brace. And, he's a Le'Veon Bell kind of running back. He likes to kind of wait behind his offensive line and cut and go, and just didn't have the ability to do it that night because of the way he was restricted. Kendall McCallum, middle linebacker, did not play in that game either because of a hand surgery, and then they'd already lost wide receiver Jacoby McClendon earlier in the season. So it was a different team than they had all year that got to the playoffs. And then when they got there, some of the experience showed up in the mistakes they made as well. So they're much better equipped this year. Ty Lindsay's healthy. Abe Peoples is as healthy as he's been all year. Kendall McCallum he's playing with a meniscus situation, but he's going to play. And I think they're going to draw from that experience. I talked to them today, and I talked to Ty Lindsay, and they've got a slogan about handling their business, and I think they handle their business.
How deep you think they go?
I think Oxford, anytime you're good on defense, and they're really good on defense, injuries, could affect you somewhere at some point. And again, Kendall McCallum is playing with an injury. They lost one of their cornerbacks this year, too, that he's got a high ankle sprain, Tanner. So we'll see how that affects you down the road when the competition gets better and better and better, or if they get those guys back to full go. But when you got a good defense, you got a chance to beat anybody.
Let's drop down now and take a look at Class 4A. And, a lot of interest around here in Class 4A. Some good football teams that are alive and well in 4A. I'm going to start with the team we saw a couple of weeks ago, just a little south of here, the Munford Lions. Went over to Leeds and won the region. Finally got ranked in the top 10 last week in the final rankings. Went up and beat Cordova, so they complete a one-loss regular season.
Yeah, and they score. My gosh, they score. They've been in the 50s, I don't know how many times already this year. They had that bad game to start the season off where that loss, and I think they scored 20, 21 points in that game.
Yeah,
and since
Central.
then, it's just been 50-50, 40-40. They're putting it up, and I expect more of the same in the first round with them. And, they're in a different bracket than the other teams that we're looking at. This year is, the 4A Region 5 people that we followed all year long here in Calhoun County and Etowah County as well. Sachs is undefeated. They're hot. And they're playing really well, both by record and at the end of the season. Jacksonville's they've got Randolph in the first round. They've won 7 in a row, and their last loss was that overtime game at Sachs. So they're playing really well. Hoax Bluff, even though Hoax Bluff lost to those two teams, Sachs and Jacksonville, they're a good team. I saw them play when they played Sachs, and they've got a good running back in the Meads kid. Landon Johnson's a good quarterback. It's a rare high school game you see where you see good quarterback play on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. And when Sachs played Hoax Bluff that night, you saw it. So there's a couple teams in there that could see each other down the line that have seen each other in the regular season. Given the way Jacksonville's been playing, maybe you see them in Sacs again.
What do you think the chances of Sacs and Mumford playing for the championship is?
That could happen. Sacs is playing really well at the end of the season. I really like Munford, the way Munford's played all season long, and that would be, and we'd love to see that too, just from a coverage area standpoint. That would be fantastic.
That would be. Just quickly touch on 3A. We had Randolph County up in the house tonight with Coach Pat Prestridge, and of course they're in that region with Piedmont, with Ohatchee.
Mm-hmm.
Could we see a repeat out of that region in the postseason where they
Yes.
got several teams that get very deep?
Yes. Last year all four qualifiers got to the quarterfinals last year. Ohatchee and Piedmont played in the semifinals. Piedmont won the state championship. I think you could see something very close to that again this year with a repeat in the semifinals. And I really like Randolph County's team. When they played Piedmont earlier in the year, they had, I think it was a 13-0 lead at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys were at that game.
Yeah.
And the thing that worked against them in that game was the depth situation and it being a warmer time of the year. Now the temperatures are coming down a little bit. The leaves are changing color, and they're in season condition now. And that, I don't know that depth will be the same problem it was in the first game. The fact that game would probably happen, I believe, at Field of Champions might be a problem. But I think it's going to be, if they play again, I would not count Randolph County out in that game.
No, I like the Tigers. I think it's a very good football team, and we're not going to be surprised to see them get there. If they can get past Fultondale in round 2, that'll be a tough out, no doubt. Joe, as always, a pleasure to have you catch up with us here on a Tuesday night. Good stuff as always.
Wait, I got to ask you one more thing.
What?
Auburn and Georgia. Who's going to win?
Wow.
He's fixed to hit you.
Yeah. That game's played at Auburn, right?
Yes.
Right.
I think it's winnable for Auburn. I would probably pick Georgia to win that game just because of the way they played all year long, and Auburn's kind of had some up and down days. And my perception of things right now is that Auburn's kind of on the second tier, and Georgia and Alabama are on the first tier in the SEC right now.
That'll be Joe Medley's final appearance on the Coaches Show for this football season after that pick.
But that second tier is kind of close to the first tier. I'll give you that.
All right, guys, we got a busy week coming up here on FNN, and again, we're going to be doubleheader for playoff action to start week 1, round 1. We're over in Winona High School Thursday night. Alexandria travels over there, the Valley Cups, to take on Winona. And then Friday night, we will be headed up north as Ohatchee hits the road to take on Sylvania. So doubleheader action for you here on the Friday Night Network this week. And don't forget NFHS. You can go online at nfhsnetwork.com. You see that on the screen there. You can go up under the upcoming events and choose your game and subscribe so you don't miss any of the excitement of the Alabama High School Athletic Association playoffs, because that's going to be how you do it. And the only way that you can see it is go to nfhsnetwork.com and get yourself subscribed and signed up. And, of course, we'll be back next Tuesday night right here at Struts in Oxford, and we'll have another show for you as we end into round 2. Coach Jonathan Miller, the head coach for the Sacs Wildcats, will be here. We'll also have our FNN Week 10 High School Player of the Week, LaDerek Bell from Sacs, and, of course, Joe Medley, who's here tonight. Well, that's to be determined after that pick in the Auburn-Georgia game. He should be back with us as well. We have enjoyed it. We are live from Struts each and every week. Join us again coming up next Tuesday night here at Struts on the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show at 7 p.m. Good night, everyone.